Okay, we're now going to look at Chapter 9, some additional issues when dealing with inventory. And one of those, you guys, is when well, remember, we put assets on the books at their cost, right? So we always will put inventory on the books at its cost. An exception to that is if the net realizable value, which is the selling price less the cost to sell the product. So if the net realizable value drops below cost, then we would report the asset at its net realizable value rather than at its cost. And we hope that never happens. If it happens very often, we'd be out of business, right? Because if the price we could sell it for less the selling expenses, if that's below cost, then we're not going to stay in business very long. But it does occasionally happen. And when it does, if we reported the inventory at cost, we would actually be overstating assets because we know we can't sell it for cost. So what we're doing in this case, we're going to value the units at the lower of cost or net realizable value. Okay, and again, that net realizable value is the selling price less the cost to sell. Okay, so our first product here is creatively named Product 1. Okay, now they give us the cost for Product 1 is $20. The net realizable value, which would be the selling price less any cost to sell, would be equal to 40, the selling price, minus the cost to sell of 6, so that's 34. Now our per unit inventory value would be the lower of cost or net realizable value. Well, in this case, cost is the lower of the two, so we'll go with it. I hope that makes sense. If the net realizable value, the selling price less the cost to sell, if that's below cost, then we'd report the inventory at its net realizable value. Otherwise, we would be overstating its value, right? If we show it at cost and we know we can't sell it, and we know the price we could sell it for, less any expenses associated with it, would be less than cost, then that's misleading to the readers, right? So if net realizable value drops below cost, we will report that inventory at its net realizable value. Okay, the next one, again, they put a lot of thought into these names, but Product 2, I think I'll do this as well. Be consistent. Okay, Product 2, cost is $90. Selling price is $120 minus cost to sell is $40. Alright, so the net realizable value is $80, cost is only $90, or cost is $90. So net realizable value is less, so we're going to report that one at $80. Net realizable value rather than cost. Okay, the cost for Product 3 is $50. The net realizable value would be the sales price, $70, minus the cost to sell, $10. That gets us $60, which is greater than the cost, so we would report that one at $50 cost. It's kind of a weird rule, you guys. We would normally put inventory on the books at cost, but if the net realizable value, which is the sales price of the inventory less the cost to sell it, has dropped below its cost, then we would report it at its net realizable value rather than at its cost. I hope that makes sense. That's What that's doing is preventing showing a larger number. It's really preventing overstating the value of your inventory. We want it on the books at its cost, unless we can't sell it for cost, and then we'd mark it down to its net realizable value. That way we're not misleading to the readers. Okay, I think if you'll work that one with me, you shouldn't have any problem with the exercise 9.1 on the Connect Plus site. Thanks.